As mechanics, there are a lot of tools that we can buy to make things a lot easier, save us time, and essentially save money and make more money. Bolts with Tone here, guys, and today I'm going to show you some tools that I have acquired over the years, about 20 years now, that make my job as a mechanic. First of all, it makes it a lot easier, and in a lot of cases, it saves me money, it makes me money, because if I can get the job done faster, then I can move on to the next job. Now, this is a job where maybe you might spend 25 bucks today, and it's not going to pay for itself the first job or the second job, but maybe by about 10 jobs, it will pay for itself and then move on from there. So before we get started, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit the bell to get notified of all my future content, which you definitely don't want to miss. Also, I will link a bunch of the tools down below, and the links help the channel. Appreciate the support. Let's get started. Let's start off with the number one tool that I made a video with that I get the most hate for, and some of the most comments that just don't make sense. So this right here, this is called an S-hook. So for years, a long time, I've only had this for a couple years, so for probably about 18 years, I would struggle with control arms. Now, not all control arms, some control arms are super easy. Now, a lot of people think that this is for breaking the ball joints loose. That is not the case. If you work on cars, you know that ball joints don't just come apart. You have to break the ball joint loose, but from there, you have to pry the control arm down to either get the knuckle out, replace the control arm, whatever, drop in a subframe. Sometimes, in some vehicles, can be very difficult to pry that control arm down because of leverage. So this tool is very simple. You slide it on the control arm, you put a pry bar through, and you pry the control arm down. And in most cases, this can be done in just a couple seconds. Now, I have a lot of people that say, oh, just use an exhaust C-clamp, use a chain. That's fine. Run a chain around, unthread a bolt, put a bolt on, thread it on, put the pry bar in, pry it down, unthread the bolt, take it out, take the chain off, and then move to the other side. In all of that time, I had them both off, back on before you did one. That's just one job. Now let's multiply that by 10, 15, 20, 30, 50 jobs. How much money is it going to save you? But not just that, it's the convenience factor. It's just so easy to just, and then off. So that is the S-hook. This is by OTC. Probably one of the best tools that I bought that I just think back, man, I wish I had this a long time ago. The next tool is from Lyle, and that is an exhaust hanger pliers. So this is the exhaust hanger. This is from a 6.7 Cummins, and you can see I got a grease there because I was trying to get it off. Now, unfortunately, this Cummins is huge, so these pliers, they don't work. They need like a diesel one. But anyways, hypothetically, let's pretend that this is a gasoline one, and what these pliers do is you grab on one side of the rubber, and then this side goes onto the end that sticks through. Now, here's a little tip for you. Lube up this part of it right here, because it's going to push inside like that. It's going to push the rod through. When it does that, it'll get stuck, and then you'll be fighting it. If you lube it up, it pulls right out. So you're going to take this, and you're going to just push it through like that. It's going to go through, disconnect, super easy. Now, can you use pry bars and all kinds of stuff to get those things disconnected? Yes, you can. Does it take time? Yes. Is it frustrating? Yes. And have I spent, I bet there's been times where I've spent a good 20, 25 minutes trying to get one of these disconnected when I could have just had this. Now, this one's a little different because this got 3, and it's in a bad spot. There's U-bolts for a bed frame that's on there. So anyways, Lyle exhaust clamp pliers, whatever you want to call it. The next tool, now this is for the struts that come down, and it's a single shaft like this, and the knuckle, here's the knuckle, and the knuckle's here, and it's got a pinch bolt that goes through, and the strut slides in. You have to take the bolt out, and you have to slide the strut out. Well, a lot of times that's kind of difficult to do. It's stuck, it's in there, and opening that up is sometimes quite difficult. So I saw a tip where they were like, stick an Allen in there and then turn it. The only problem with this is the Allen isn't very big, so when you turn it, it doesn't open it very much. So this is a tool that Ryan Mullen, actually, I saw on TikTok, he bought this. And so what this is you can see it's like an oval shape. And so you have this spot here, and you pull the pinch bolt out, and you put this in like this, and it's got a spot for a ratchet. And then you turn it to the side, and it opens up that knuckle enough to slide that strut right out. You can leave it in there, slide the strut out, slide it back in, get a ratchet, turn it, it's out. Now I know they make a couple different kinds, but anyways, this tool right here really is very cheap. I can't remember how much some of this stuff costs. Now this tool I wish I hadn't have bought when I bought it, and here's why. So for many, many years, I used vice grips for hood struts. You got the hood, you open it up, it falls back down. I always use vice grips to hold them up, and I had coworkers, I've always seen people that have the special screw-on things, and I've seen a lot of people's that don't work, and then I came across Lyle, and this one's awesome. Well, first of all, I love that it has a nice long green flag, so it kind of helps you see it, so you don't forget it and then break the hood. But what it is you slide this onto the hood strut, and you tighten it down. Now, the reason I wish I hadn't have bought this when I did was because when I bought this, very shortly after I bought this, they came out with the magnetic version. So we've had those hoods where it's super heavy and you're trying to hold it up, and you got your shoulder, but you need to be all the way up. You're trying to hold it while you screw this thing on, or vice grips, whatever. Well, they have a magnetic version that you hold the hood up, you walk up with the magnet, and it sticks there, and then with one hand you can screw it in, hold the hood up, you're done. So Lyle tools, awesome, but I wish I had the magnetic version. Next up is Koken tools. Now Koken has several tools that make life just so much easier. So this is an Allen screw here, and as we all know, there are bolts that are non-ferrous. This is ferrous, so this works with a magnet. But there are bolts that aren't ferrous, and plus, when you have a magnet, sometimes it's very difficult to get the bolt started and to get the magnet to pull off. Koken Tools has the answer for that. And that is, now this is just for the hex, this is called a ring grip socket. So you can see it's an Allen, and on the end, there's a ring there, and that ring, it's expanded. So you take your Allen, and you push it on, you'll see, you hear the click, okay? And now, the thing about this that I like so much is that this ring holds on to the bolt really well, but it pulls off really well. So if you just have like a half a thread, it will pull out and the bolt stays, then you can get, and then you can run it in. With the magnet, a lot of times, the magnet is holding it at a bad angle, and you just can't get it to start, and every time you pull it out, it just keeps coming out. So use code NUTS&BOLTSWITHTONE for checkout at Koken USA for 10% off. So this is a rail. They have multiple different ones. They have long ones. They have short ones. I have both. So Koken Tools makes those. Those are awesome. Now here's another tool. Now I bought these. I honestly have not used them, but it is the Astro, I forgot what they're called. Anyways, it's like the dual drive sockets, but they have a ratchet. Now what's neat about these dual drive sockets is you can see that there's a notch in there. Well, that's because in their wrenches here, you can see that ring. Kind of a similar as the Koken, this is Astro, but when you use their dual drive socket, sure, you can take a socket and put it in here, but it won't hold. So you can pop it in, and now it's gonna stay, it's not gonna come out. Now they make many different versions, many different lengths. They have 3/8, they have quarter, this is quarter, and it's also a pass-through. So I have a set of these, I have this wrench. I need to get some more, but I really honestly have never used this, not one time. Probably because I forgot that I had it when I needed it. Next up is just luxury items that you buy. This is the M12 Stubby. Now, I hemmed and hawed about Milwaukee for a very long time. I was a Snap-on guy. I only bought Snap-on cordless tools. Saw everybody starting to get Milwaukee, and I decided one day I had bought something really expensive from Snap-on, and it broke like way too early than it should have broke. I had to pay a bunch of money to an upgraded one, and it was a cordless ratchet, and just really kind of salted me. And my Snap-on guns weren't that great. So I decided to try a Milwaukee. I got just a little driver, and it was great. I loved it. I got it for home, worked fantastic. I thought, you know what, I'm gonna buy one for work, get rid of my Snap-on, use the Milwaukee, try it out. I loved it. So I ended up buying I don't remember what else I bought, but anyways, I had a bunch of coworkers that had the first gen stubby M12, and they swore by it. They said this thing is awesome. So I bought it, and oh my god, I mean, this thing had like 250 foot-pounds of torque, and it was pretty bad, pretty awesome. And then they came out with this one. This is the second gen. This is 550 foot-pounds, but only if you use the 5 amp high output battery. Now I have a lot of people that complain about, why would you advertise a gun that's 550 foot-pounds, but you have to have a special battery? Well, I mean, this is the power behind the tool, so whatever. And if you don't like it, don't buy it. Just know that I've always been upfront that if you buy this gun and you don't have this battery, you're not getting 550 foot-pounds. But this thing is awesome. I mean, I can do almost entire front ends, maybe some subframes. I have to get the big one out, but this does just about everything that I want it to do. Now, here's the problem with this 550 foot-pounds. This thing will break things, so you got to be careful. Milwaukee came out with a subcompact M12, very, very similar. It's smaller in diameter, okay? It's a little bit smaller in length, and it's shorter. It just all around, it's smaller. You can get this into a lot of more places. This is 250 foot-pounds. This is smaller than the Gen 1 and smaller than the Gen 2. So, but what's nice about this is when I'm doing front ends, I've got this guy, 17, 19, 21. I've got this guy with a 12 and a 14. I'm taking apart all the big bolts with this, taking apart small stuff with this, and putting it back together. So I got 2 guns, 2 sockets. Like I said, luxury helps you make money. If I'm having to constantly take this off and rip a socket and put a socket on. Now I got my SunX Tools work table here that I'm rolling underneath the car, so everything is right there. But it still takes time. Take it off, put it on, take it off, put it on. Plus, I mean, you know, you're just gonna end up changing this ring a lot faster. And for some reason, Milwaukee, I don't know what it is about those rings. I don't know if Milwaukee sells better ones, but those rings wear out really fast on Milwaukee. That's just my opinion. So, if you guys have an alternative, I've always had the ones I got from Snap-on, let me know. But anyway, so these 2, awesome. Now I did get both of these at Tex Choice Tools. Tex Choice Tools has just about everything you can think of. They have a ton of deals. You should follow them on all platforms. Just about every day they have a video with a new deal, a new sale, and they've always got the best stuff. Now also the batteries. M12 stubby batteries, I got these from Tex Choice Tools, and a lot of times I buy 2 at a time, get a deal. Now, what is on the bottom of these batteries? Another luxury item, that's STS Auto Design. You can see that's 2 big magnets in there. So take this gun here, and you know, it's not very heavy. I have videos with big heavy stuff. Stick it right there to the metal, the subframe. Now this is only 1 inch thick, so it's only half the magnet. It's holding it up. These magnets will hold the big Snap-on gun. They hold everything. They hold them upside down, sideways. These are pretty awesome. Anyways, you should check them out. Tex Choice Tools, let them know I sent you. Next up is from Koken Tools. Now, Koken Tools has what's called nut grip technology. Nut grip technology is inside of here, you can see there's a ball up top right there. Spin it around, and there's another ball. On the outside is a ring. And this ring, squeezing those 2 bolts. So, a lot of times, you get a bolt, and you got to put a magnet on there, right? There's a magnetic socket here, and it holds it pretty good. Depends on the brand, depends on the bolt, depends on the socket, depends on the length, depends on if your magnet's clean. You know, all those things. I've had magnetic sockets, and I'm trying, and it falls off. Whatever. Anyway, so Koken Tools has these in many different types of sockets. Now, why would you want this? Well, first of all, the ring is so much better than a magnet, because when you use the magnet, just like the ring grip Allens, when you use a magnet, a lot of times that magnet is really hanging on. It doesn't want to let go. With this holds the bolt on really well. It's not going to fall. Now this is a 1/4 universal, 10 milli. You can go all around. I mean, unless you bump the bolt, it's not going to fall off, even long bolts. But as soon as you start to get some threads and you pull back, pops off. Pops off when you need it to, but it stays on when you need it to. So again, nuts and bolts with tone for checkout at Koken USA for 10% off. But now they have a lot of really awesome ones. Now we've all had those bolts where the stud is like this long and the nut's way down here. And you unthread it with a deep socket and you get it off, but you can't put it back on because a magnet, you put it on, it won't stay on. So here are some super long deep sockets, short sockets, all that. So these are really awesome. Now, like these work really good when you're doing studs under a dash and things like that. And you've got a nut that's got to go way up, and you can't get it started with a regular magnetic socket. So these are going to get it done. And let me tell you, the finish on every Koken tool that you could feel is just absolutely just amazing. I promise you, the first time that you hold one in your hand, you're going to be like, oh wow, this is like no manufacturer out there. Snap-on, Koken, not even close to the same. Now Vim tools, so we've all seen the dual drive sockets, another tool that you could say is a useless tool, is a pointless tool to buy, but here's why I disagree. So here is a triple square, or XZN, whatever. Anyways, you can see here, it's a hex, you can put a wrench on here, also has a drive. So I've had times where I'm doing stuff and I'm using triple square, Torx, whatever, and I don't have the room to put a regular triple square and a socket and a ratchet, which ends up being about this big, in there because I don't have the room. So with this, you can put this on the bolt, you can put a wrench to get it started, okay? And then you can come behind it with a ratchet, or you can just run it in with the wrench. Dual drive sockets are awesome. Now this is from Carbyne Tools. I'll link those below. I have all the Carbyne Tools stubby socket or dual drives. These things are awesome. So I have all those dual drives from Carbyne Tools. They have Torx, they have Torx Plus, Hex, standard and metric. They have triple square. They have all of them. So anyways, those are awesome. And there's many other brands that make them. So here's another one. This is from Mayhew Tools. So Mayhew Tools is a little bit different because like their Torx set is all quarter drive. So as some of the other brands, it's quarter drive in the beginning and then it turns into 3/8, which makes everything bigger because then your universal is 3/8 instead of quarter. So this is a Mayhew Tools quarter, and this is just a regular snap-on universal. So it's much smaller. But now, the reason I wanted to show you this is Mayhew Tools, okay? So when I take this and I put this Torx on a universal, all right, I don't have full range of motion because of the type of universal this is. But it's also taller. So this is from Vim Tools, and Vim Tools actually has a better design than this one now. But this is from Vim Tools, and these are Torx universals, okay, universal Torx. Now, what makes the Vim even better is they have a better range of motion than a regular universal. But what is better about the Vim is now Vim actually has these sockets, and they have like a bushing in here. So when you're like this and you let go, it pops back up. So it returns back to center so that you're not like having a floppy, you're not like this trying to get something on and you're like trying to lift it up. So Vim Tools makes a set of these. I've had these for a while now. These work really well when you're trying to get oil coolers that are underneath intake manifolds, and instead of using this design or fighting yourself, you can use this, get them undone, get them out, move on to the next part of the job or the next job. Now, Vim Tools is also sold at Tech's Choice Tools, so you can find them there. Super awesome. Make money. Mayhew Tools. A lot of Mayhew Tools is made in the USA, and their pry bars are freaking amazing. So, next step is I want to show you the most amazing ratchet I've ever had. Now, this is a Koken ratchet, and I'm not showing you because I want to tell you about the discount you can get at Koken. I want to tell you because I've had a couple times. So Koken Tools has, you can't hear it, but Koken Tools has the lowest amount of back drag out of any ratchet on the market. And what I mean by back drag is when you take a ratchet and you click it back one click and then try to tighten or loosen something, that click is the back drag. So Koken, because they have such little back drag, I've had times, now this is a 1/4-inch ratchet with a flex head, okay? Wonderful handle here, 3/8 drive. So I've had times where I had engine mounts. I had something that I had very, very limited access. And I was able to put this with a socket, and I was able to get the bolt started loosening so I can get it out because of this ratchet. Now all their ratchets, all their Z-Series ratchets have this amount of back drag. Amazing. Next up is from Vim Tools. So we're all familiar with these style wrenches, okay? They've got the shoulder, all right? Some have a pawl here for changing direction. Some have a button here, okay? All different brands. Probably one of the most sold wrenches on the market ever of all time, probably between all the different manufacturers that make them. But anyway, so that's this. These are awesome. Now, here's the dilemma that you have with this. What if you wanted this wrench, but you only had a very limited amount of space? So Vim came out with what's called a Nora wrench. So this is just the head of a 16 milli. Now I just picked this random extension, okay? I can put that on there. And now look, I've got a 16 milli that's only this long instead of this long. So I can't tell you how many times I've needed this wrench, but I didn't have any access. Or let's say this wrench just isn't long enough. Let's make it longer. Now you can make this even longer. I have longer extensions than this. But now let's take a look at the 16 milli. And here we are. And here's the difference. Here's the wrench up here. Here's my extension. Now I have a ton of wrench length where I didn't have it before. Vim Tools Nora wrenches. Now these are sold in two sets. It's sold with the first half of the sizes on one rail, and then the bigger sizes on another rail. So pretty awesome. I actually really like those. Now this is a tool if you don't work on Fords and you don't lift cabs, you're not going to need this. But on Fords, on the older vehicles that have a parking brake cable, okay, you got this. It's about this long, and it's got a cable from behind in there, and it's got a cable from the front in there. Well, they've got this dimple pressed down on both sides to keep it from coming out. Getting that cable off can be quite difficult. I've tried to drill the dimple out. I've really fought myself. I never really found a good way to disconnect it besides trying to drill it out. I've had times that I can get them disconnected in 5 minutes. I've had times that take me 35 minutes. These pliers right here are awesome. So what these do is you don't have to mess with that dimple at all. You hook this on, and this goes on the cable, and you pull it, and basically what it does is it pushes it past the dimple, and it gets it off, and it also will install it. I got these on Amazon. It said it wouldn't work on the vehicles that I work on, but it works. I just used it just about a couple months ago. That's pretty awesome. Next up is from Vessel. Now this is the electric ratchet, I guess you would call it. Electric ratchet. So this was, Vessel is a Japanese company, and the first time that these were available was in Japan. You could only buy them in Japan, Japanese Amazon, things like that. I found a guy, I think it was Teng Tools, I think, and he sold those tools. And that's how a person that I know gets tools from Japan to contact him. He buys them, you pay him, he ships them to your door. So I got this is the Japanese version. Since then, they have come out with their American version, and it's probably a little bit cheaper, but it's different. I don't think it's the same color. It's very similar. But how this works is you got this little button here. Just one button. There's no forward, there's no reverse. The only difference is which way you're on the ratchet. So when you push this button, it is operating like that. If you want to change direction, you pop this out and you put it in the other side, and you go. Okay, now what this is good for is, we've all had valve covers where you're trying to get your cordless ratchet down there and it's just too big. There's no room. And so what you can do is you can take this and you put your socket on there, you break it loose, and then you can get in there and zip, 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 zip all your valve cover bolts off, pop it off, because this is so small. This works great, and this is not a tool you'd use all the time, and it's not a tool that would come in handy all the time. But it is a tool that works really well, and it's worth it. Like I said, you're investing in your time for luxury. You're making your life easier, right? You don't have to work as hard, or you get the job done faster. And I believe, oh no, got a couple more. All right, the next up is from Milwaukee. Now this is the insider ratchet, okay? So this is my 3/8 long neck snap-on, and it's not very old. You can see it's the brushless version. It's out of warranty, and sometimes when I pull the trigger, it doesn't work. It just stops working. So it's kind of frustrating. I actually haven't used it in quite some time. Actually, it's been so long that the battery is dead because I haven't been using it. So this is the insider ratchet. Now here's some benefits with this. So this is Milwaukee's insider ratchet. Now I have it with just a 3/8 anvil on here to put a socket on. I use this as my cordless ratchet because I can't rely on the snap-on. I paid a lot of money for that ratchet. It's out of warranty, and the only way is to get it fixed, which is expensive, or to buy a new one. I'm not doing it. I'm not buying any more snap-on cordless tools because they're so expensive and they break out of warranty, and you're stuck having to buy a new tool when you shouldn't have to. The warranty should be longer. That's not why I'm telling you about this right here. So let's say you have up to a 14 milli. The inside of ratchet is hollow. The sockets are hollow. So what you can do is you can take this 3/8 anvil out here and you put this in here, and here is your ratchet with your 14 milli, okay? And it passes through. So if you have a stud, you can put it on there, or you can just use this as a ratchet, like I do. I literally, this is my go-to with the 5 amp high output battery. I use this all the time, and like I said, haven't even used the snap-on anymore. Next up is 2 more tools. Now this one is from Tight Reach. So you've had those bolts that are way down in the front of the inch compartment, and maybe you can get a ratchet in there, but you can't get a cordless tool in there. The cordless tool is not long enough. So how do you get it off? So fan clutches on 2.7 sprinters is a bolt. It's a hex bolt. And because the fan shroud's there, the fan shroud and the fan clutch come out together, but you can't get it out with the fan shroud in there. So you got to take the bolt out. How do you do it? Well, you take this and you put your dual drive Allen on here and you stick it in there. And then you take your cordless. Now this will drop down below the top of the fan shroud, about that far down below. Then you take your cordless ratchet, you put it on here, and the head of your cordless ratchet will go down inside the fan shroud, and you can break it loose. You can run the bolt out, take this out, use a magnet, grab the bolt, put it back in, put this in, and you just flip it over, and then so basically what this does, it's got a drive here that's connected to a drive here. So when you turn this one's turning. Okay, you can see it turning right there. So from Tight Reach, they have all different versions. They have a cheaper version for the DIY guy. This is the bigger version, the heavier duty one, and these are the professional grade. So Tight Reach tools. And the next step is just 2 more tools. Now I got these from the TikTok shop. Now I wanted to show you because I've seen this light right here everywhere, Matco, all kinds of places, and they're pretty expensive. This is from the TikTok shop, and I can tell you what, this is one of the best lights I've ever bought. I have bought so many cordless lights, and they all suck because they end up either not working well, they don't hold a charge. This is awesome. It's got a magnet on both ends. You can move this magnet however you want. You can rotate this light in all directions. There's a hook. Now I use this under hood. I use it in dashes. I use this when I'm doing high voltage batteries. Use this all the time. Under cars, trying to get DPFs off. Really good. You can actually go to the TikTok shop and pick that up. The next up is the last thing. Now this is from the TikTok shop. Now I've had some tools where you spray, you got a little spray nozzle in your hand and it's got a hose. You put the hose in degreaser and you can spray air and it sprays, you know, degreaser. But the problem is it's in your hand, you can't get anywhere. This is a wand style, so you have about a foot to get up. It's got an angle on there. So let's say you got a front cover that's just puking. You can take this, you put your, I need to get an air fitting for it, but you put your air hose here. You have a clear plastic hose that goes in your thing, and that's actually really long, which is nice because you can have your bottle down here, hook this up, it's sitting on a cart, and as you're spraying air, it's spraying pressurized cleaner. You can get stuff clean. So, also from my TikTok shop, I love this thing. It's awesome. So that's what I got right there. A lot of tools that some of them cost more, some of them are a little bit more of an investment, but the time that it saves you, I've been doing this for 20 years, and now I'm at a spot where a lot of these jobs are a lot easier and nicer, and it's just more pleasurable to work on cars when I have nicer tools that get the job done versus back in the day when you were struggling. You're going through your entire toolbox trying to find a combination of something that will work. Drop a comment down below. Let me know if you've got any of these tools, if they're on your bucket list, or if any of these tools are a no way, Jose, I'm not getting them. I'm going to go the hard way. So, or if you have a tool that doesn't cost that much, that makes life easier, let me know. Thanks for watching. See you guys next time.